Hey everyone, so today I'm going to teach you the undercut. Alright, an undercut, it's a very basic technique that it's easy, it's very useful, and it's casual. Alright, it's used in a lot of things. You can use it as a control, you can use it as a false cut, you can use it to control, for example, a number of cards from the top to the bottom, and a number of cards from the bottom to the top. And it does that without disturbing the order of the deck, without disturbing the order of any card. Alright. And so it's a very casual move, and you'll find yourself doing that all along. I still use it, and I'm a pretty advanced magician. There's a lot of more advanced controls, but this one is so easy, casual, and it's not fishy at all. It's very easy, and it's just such a good move that if I could just use this one for the rest of my life, I could. But one tip I should give you is don't use always the same control. You try to learn as much as you can. Don't use the same one, but this one is an amazing alternative. So here's what an undercut looks like. So it's basically what the name is. It's an undercut. You're cutting from underneath. Alright, so here you hold the deck above on your biddle or overhand grip. I made a tutorial on that. I'll leave the link in the description box down below for you to check that out. And here's what you do. You come here, you split a packet, you bring it all the way up and place it there. Alright, so now the ring and the ring finger and the pinky are getting out of the way for you to place it there. Right, but now the middle and ring finger are, and don't let this packet square up. So now you need to place that packet, the deck on your hand, and square it up. Alright, so you cut, square up, and that's an undercut. So imagine you want to control a card for the Ace of Hearts, alright, and you want to control it to the top. So here's what it looks like. So this is a double undercut, and what I did basically was I took a random card. When I closed the spread, I obtained a pinky break. I also made a video on that. I'll also leave the link in the description box down below for you to learn it. And now I transferred that break into a thumb break. So now what I did a double undercut. So I cut half the cards to the top, and then I got the break and split the rest of the cards from the break, and I put it on top. Right, and I squared up. Now you don't need to do just two cuts, but it's the ideal. One cut, it's too obvious. Two cuts, it's the ideal. Alright, and why not three cuts? You could, but when you start it, do a cut, you do another cut, and you do another cut, and if you continue cutting, you saw that the cards start getting messy in here. They start being very sloppy, and it starts to get hard for your middle finger and your thumb to hold those cards. So two cuts is the ideal, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. So some people actually say or tell you to never use this as control. Alright, so you put the card in the deck, do two cuts, and act as if the card was lost. Right, I agree and disagree with that, because you can always throw something after, and that's where it can be used as a false cut. So you do the control, and then you do a false cut using only undercuts. So now you can do a lot of cuts, but you need to be cautious on that. You need to pay attention. You can't be staring at the deck. Normally, you need to having some misdirection. Talking to people, interacting with them. That not just doesn't make the magic more interesting and fun to watch, but it also prevents people from paying more attention to your hands. And that's where the sleight of hand happens, in your hands. That's why it's called sleight of hand. So you just control the card to the top using the double undercut, and now here's what the false cut looks like. Right, that was really bad. I'm sorry. I'll repeat it. All right, boom, boom. So that was the false cut. So now you have your pinky break above the cards. You do the double undercut to control it from the top. You square up, and now you undercut half the cards to the top. Sorry, that was really bad. I don't know, but you know, you just control the card. You undercut half the cards to the top. But now when you square it up, you need to obtain a pinky break, alright? And now do a double or triple cut, whatever. Just make sure you do something, alright? So you do your double undercut, and now you did some series of cuts, and now it's really hard. It's really hard to follow when you do tons and tons of cuts, and now people, they will not follow because they don't know what you did. So imagine now you have 1, 2, or 3 cards on top that you want to put in the bottom. The first thing you need to do is get a pinky break beneath the number of cards you want to control to the top, to the bottom. So imagine I want to control 1. I get a pinky break, I just push off, get a pinky break, and now I transfer that to a thumb break. I undercut a packet, but when I square up, I keep that pinky break, alright? So now the card that was on top is this one. And now if you do a double undercut, the 6 was controlled to the bottom. Alright, so imagine you have the 5 of spades here. Alright, so you do the cut, you square it up, you do a double undercut, and now the 5 of spades is on the bottom. Alright, so if this still works if you want to use like 4 cards. Imagine you have the 4 aces on top, you don't want to control them to the bottom. Alright, you undercut, keep that break, and then boom, boom, undercut, and the cards are now on the bottom. Now imagine you want to control a number of cards from the bottom to the top. It's basically the reverse. So you spread through the cards, and you want to count the number of cards you need to control to the top. Imagine I want 4 cards. So when I close the spread, I get a little pinky break on top of those 4 cards. What I do now is a little bit different. Instead of undercutting, I swing cut a packet. I'll also leave the link in the description box down below for you to learn that. And when you place it, you keep the pinky break on those cards, alright? And what you do now is a double undercut. And so now the cards that were on the bottom are now on top. So this was the undercut. This will be a super useful move. I still use this one. I'm an advanced magician right now, and I still use this after so many years. This is probably one of my top 5 controls, that I use, right? And it's really easy, really basics. One of you beginners out there must learn, you really must practice this one, because this is an easy one. It's practical, it's easy. As I said, it's easy, it's very useful, and it's casual, right? But one idea is, don't make this when people are staring at the deck. You can still do it, but you know, as any sleight of hand move, you need to talk to people, you need to distract them, because that's where the magic comes in. So that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and this will be useful, really. Practice it, and see you guys next time.